Everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Coming soon, Missing 2, double the suspense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite paintings and King David Psalms. Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner, and check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, 50 podcast platforms. Heard in over 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, also Anchor FM, YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, and more. We're here with an amazing lady who's an author and storyteller with love for stories since childhood, watching TV and movies with family. I'll talk more about that. Holds degrees in religious studies, theater, education, and taught drama in English. Also traveled in 10 different countries and outside the U.S. and Canada as well, too, in Mexico. Also, a first book about two women linked by blood, but separated by time, must rebuild their lives. And a second book about a little dinosaur who gets lost but finds his way home. And the third book is a blog and a way to improve writing skills. And we'll talk about that, plus a YouTube channel and a podcast. Live, ladies and gentlemen, Plus Studio, somewhere in beautiful Southeast Arizona. Multi-talented author and storyteller with love for stories. And also be talking about Sage Woman Chronicles, The Space Between, Skylosaurus, Little Dinosaur, and more with the multi-talented Lucinda Sage-Midgorden. Lucinda, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, Mike. It's my pleasure.
Well, it's great to have you on board as well, too. So you're an author and storyteller with a love for stories since childhood, watching TV and movies with your family. You hold degrees in religious studies, theater, education. You taught drama and English. You also travel in 10 different countries outside the U.S., including Canada and Mexico. You have a first book about two women linked by blood, but separated by time, must rebuild their lives. You have a second book about a little dinosaur who gets lost, but finds his way home, and also third book as a blog and a way to improve your writing skills with a wide range of topics. And it's basically Sage Woman Chronicles, the space between time, and Scotosaurus, the little dinosaur. We'll get to all that. And plus, you have a YouTube channel and podcast. More on that before getting all that. Lucinda, tell us how you first got started.
How I first got started
All the
with
way, yes.
stories,
Way
all the way
back, way
back.
back. Way
Okay, there
back,
you go.
Sherman, way back. Remember watching Peabody and Sherman? Into Time
Oh,
Machine,
yeah.
Sherman, way back, way back.
You're right. Well, when I was a child, my parents instituted family movie night. My father had dyslexia, and so it was, even though he taught himself how to read, it was really hard for him to read out loud. So reading stories to us at night, that wasn't really an option for him. And my mom worked, so she was always tired at the end of the day.
Mm.
There were occasions when she would read us stories, but mostly we watched movies together and analyzed them
Oh, wow.
because my parents wanted us to learn how to get along with other people. And one of the ways was watching how characters interacted with the other characters in the movie. Did they get along with them? What mistakes did they make? What good decisions did they make? That kind of thing. And so, of course, as I got older, the analysis got more and more complex. And I just really loved stories so much. I wasn't really a reader until high school, an avid reader until high school. And in senior year of high school, got really hooked on classic British literature because senior year is
Interesting.
British lit. I read A Tale of Two Cities by Dickens, Jane Eyre. We read Shakespeare, and I just fell in love with all of it. And so I was one of the kids that everybody else would roll their eyes because the teacher and I were having a conversation about the book, which everybody else was like, they didn't really want to read it, and that kind of thing. But yeah, so I've read kind of a lot of classic British literature. Um, and I love the adaptations, the movie and television adaptations of
Oh, nice.
them.
Okay.
Yes, I have several copies of Emma and Sense and Sensibility. And I didn't read Jane Austen until I was an adult, until we moved here to Arizona. But I just love Jane Austen too. So Yeah, and then it seemed like all of my decisions had to do with working with little kids, reading stories to them or telling them stories to put them to sleep at nap time. Because I worked in Montessori schools and daycare centers and child development centers until for about 4 years until I went to college.
Okay.
And then religious studies was it was for me, it was all about the myths and how the religions got started and the stories behind that and the stories of the Old Testament and the New Testament. And yeah, really I just loved that. But that was not really a popular decision for me to make to be a major in that degree because it was a Christian college. It was the 1970s, and women weren't supposed to study that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So, but my the beginning of my junior year, I started also getting involved in theater at the
Okay.
college. So then I added that degree to my BA. And later I got a master's in theater. I worked in the Portland Parks and Rec department teaching little kids, but I also worked in the theater because Portland has quite an active theater program
Okay.
of semi-professional companies and professional companies. And so I did almost all the jobs except for designing, acting and directing and stage managing. Well, I didn't direct when I was at Portland. It wasn't until I became a teacher that I became a director. But I worked in the costume shops and, stuff like that, ran lights. So, when we sold our house in 1996 and took our trip around the world, we decided that when we came home, we would move to Arizona because Barry's mom and dad and my mom and dad lived in Arizona at that
Hmm.
time. And they were getting older. My dad had heart disease, so we wanted to be close. And my parents are both gone now, and Barry's mom and dad moved to be close to his brother. So, and I had a couple of sisters who lived here too, for a while. And then now we're the last ones here. We've been here almost 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So, yep, getting close to 30 years of living in Arizona. And we like the desert a lot, but we're thinking about moving to New Mexico
Hmm. Whereabouts?
at some point. We're going to check out Los Alamos. We went there once before, really loved it, but we're going again for our 45th wedding anniversary this
Oh,
month.
happy anniversary.
Yeah, to check it out again. We're checking it out again. So now that we're both retired, we can move if we want. Don't have to rely on a job.
Hmm. And of
So,
course, you also held a number of jobs as well too. Of course, you've been a writer. You also been like a podcaster and also a YouTuber as well too. So I mean, you did some writing for quite some time. And what was the one exact precise moment that simply influenced you into what you do in the rest of your career?
well, the writing started when I started teaching English. I had to drive all the way to Douglas. It's an hour away. So I was driving 92 miles a day to go teach and then come
Oh
home.
wow.
And I got to direct plays and stuff too. But I had to go to bed at 8 o'clock because I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get ready to go
Oh
to
wow.
teach
Okay.
because it was high school. High school starts early. But when I was teaching English, I realized I knew how to teach the students how to write, at least how to write good essays. And so I kind of decided that I wanted to write. And so I quit that full-time job and took a part-time job at the college, at Cochise College. And I was teaching theater then. And it was really fun. For a little while, I also got to teach some communication classes.
Oh nice.
And I like to direct. I got to direct plays and teach acting. And one of my favorite classes was dramatic structure, where we watch movies and we pull them apart, just like I did when I was a kid.
Oh, like being like a movie critic, right?
Right. Yeah, kind of. And checking, talking about the relationships of the characters and how the story developed and what were the visual things that told how the characters were like the costumes, the different costumes, the evolution of their costumes, or the settings. What did the settings add to the stories? Things like that. So, but in 19, let's see, it was 2017 or 18. I was getting kind of ready to stop teaching there. I had already published my novel, The Space Between Time. Although Scotosaurus, the Little Dinosaur, is one that we wrote and illustrated for our oldest nephew some years back. And so when we decided to publish independently, we used that one as our sort of our teaching. How do you
Oh,
publish something
okay.
independently? Yeah. So because my husband did the illustrations for it. And so I had already published that, but I had decided that I wanted to direct the Shakespeare version of Me Too, which is Measure for Measure, where a young woman gets harassed, and also she was sort of like coerced into this situation where she was, if she wanted to save her brother's life, she had to sleep with this guy that was in charge
Oh,
of.
I think I know what you mean. Almost like Harvey Weinstein. And I also thought of this one movie where it's like if to sleep with somebody else, you had to get $1 million. It's somewhere along those lines. Was it
Yes,
Indecent
yes.
Proposal? I think that's the name of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. And I had decided that right around the time when the whole Harvey Weinstein thing broke. And so, but I had never directed a Shakespeare play before. And I was fortunate to meet a professional actor who had done it 7 times
Wow, okay.
in one way or another. And so he offered to help me, and then we became teaching partners. And then eventually he took over my job when I decided to retire. So he's teaching now at the college, and he's also involved and runs the local um, community theater. So so while we were having the pandemic, I was still teaching and at the college, and we had to teach via Zoom. And I had been thinking quite a while about starting a podcast.
Okay.
And my husband happens to be a techie. He listens to lots of podcasts. So when I told him this, he helped me think through how often did I want to publish it? What equipment did I need? How was I going to edit it? All that kind of things that you have to think of when you're producing a podcast. And so I started it in July of 2020, and I just recently celebrated my 5-year anniversary of Story Power.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, and thank you. And then, I'm kind of one of these people that I can do, I love the podcast, but I always need something new to kind of, help me feel creative. And so I started a YouTube channel with my sister in February of this year called Classic Cinema with the Sage Sisters. And she and I love classic movies. And so we pick one movie and we kind of analyze it just like we did when we were growing up watching movies with our family. And so that's pretty much, I've stopped writing my blog on my website, Sage Woman Chronicles, but I still publish both Story Power and the classic Cinema with the Sage Sisters there. And if I if I have enough time, I sometimes will write a blog post, but it's irregular now. It was regular once a week, every week
Hmm.
for since 2013.
Okay.
And then this year's the year that I said, "Oh, I'm gonna stop writing it for a
It,
while."
is the blogging thing still going on right now, or is it kind of just fading off? I kind of hear about blogs, off and on. Is that still going on? Big thing, or is it kind of fading out?
Well, I think it's kind of morphed into the Substack newslettery kind of thing. Uh, I don't know much about that. I'm old school. I did it on WordPress and I did it since 2013 and but I'm not doing that so much anymore. At some point, excuse me, at some point I might pick that up again, but we'll see because I'm finishing my second book that's the sequel to The Space Between Times. So,
Okay, that's great. We'll talk more about that with Lucinda Sage-Midgorden about the upcoming sequel. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor, the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those love be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has got great reviews. An evil love and endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Jutta Cassie, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for it goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2, Double Expense, Double of Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 Squids of Pains and King David's Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives a new perspective of the Psalms he wrote and the time of shipwreck started and complicate your turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist, Serena Wagner. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, 50 podcast platforms, heard in 110 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, plus Apple Music, BitChute, Rumble, YouTube. Also, follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, and more. Take us with you on any mobile device. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with the multi-talented author and storyteller, and also a podcast extraordinaire and YouTuber, Lucinda Sage-Midgorden, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And before we talk about your upcoming book, let's talk about the Sage Woman Chronicles. It's I know you stopped writing it. It's a blog, way to improve your writing skills and wide range of topics. And what influenced you to just to start a blog and wide range of topics and maybe writing skills and all that?
well, when I decided to stop teaching high school, public school, I I thought that I would write a memoir, but I had never written a memoir, and so it didn't turn out very well. And I said, I need to practice writing. So that's why I started the blog. And over the years, I did learn a lot about writing. I mean, I've read some books about it too, but mostly I just sort of followed my heart and my nose and my head.
all the above, including the eyes as well, and the ears if you feel like hearing what you wrote. So
Right. So I would write about something that had happened that week that I thought about that I wanted to write about. So it has a lot of different topics. All of them are still available on Sage Woman Chronicles. But now mostly I just publish story power and classic cinema with the Sage sisters there on that website. And it's at sagewoman.life if you want to go there and check it out. And then yeah, so Story Power is on Apple and Spotify and Amazon, and I also produce it as a YouTube. So there's a YouTube channel for Story Power, and there's a YouTube channel for the classic cinema with
and
the
plus, you also
sisters.
did a children's book called Scottosaurus, the Little Dinosaur. Tell us more about that.
Oh, well, that was for our oldest nephew, Scott, when he was about 6 years old. He is now in his 30s and has two children of his own.
And
Uh,
reading his own story. How you like
That's
that?
right. Yeah. Um, and when I wrote, it took me about 7 years to write The Space Between Time, but when it was getting close to being published and we were deciding, I think I was in my 60s already when that was coming out. And I did not want to wait. You know how you have to wait if you got to get um, an agent, and then they have to sell it to a publisher, and then you gotta wait for the publisher to edit it, and then blah blah blah. So
Right,
I
going
said,
through the red tape, the hoops and everything. I totally understand it.
yeah, and I said I don't want to wait that long. So my husband happens to be an artist, a graphic artist and a visual artist, and so his job, he published newsletters and advertisements and all this stuff, so he could lay it out. He did the artwork for me, the cover art. He did the maps on the inside because I have one of the characters goes on the Oregon Trail, so he has the map of the what states were part of the United States right before the Civil War, and the Oregon Trail is on there, and the places where they stopped to resupply and all of that. And there was another map too, seems like. Anyway, so he's the one who did all the research about where to go to publish it. At that time, we published it with a company called Smashwords,
Okay.
and we worked with Create Space, but now that's all part of KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing.
Hmm.
And Smashwords is now only a place where you go buy ebooks. Uh, Another company bought it to publish ebooks. But it is available on Amazon as an ebook if you want to buy it there. It's also available at Barnes and Noble and Apple Books, and I think that's all. Um, yeah.
Hmm.
So both those books are available that way on all those sites.
Okay, and plus you also wrote the space between time, and you wrote that like in your 60s about that. It's a book about two women linked by blood but separated by time who must rebuild their lives. And tell us more about that and what first inspired you to write the book.
I started that book in 1999
Oh
when
wow, okay.
I was still a substitute teacher at that time. That's before I got my master's of education. And I was teaching in Sierra Vista, which is where Fort Huachuca is, and at the high school. I mean, that I was substitute teaching there, and uh, I wanted to write a story about a father and a daughter because my dad and I were very close. He was my mentor.
Hmm.
I considered him my mentor. Well, when I started it, I was still substitute teaching. And then I got a couple of really long-term, like all year sub assignments, which
Hmm.
meant I didn't have time to write
Oh
because
wow.
I was, I was grading papers, and I was long-term subbing in the special ed department, so I had to write IEPs and stuff like that. And I just didn't have time. So I set it aside. Well, I picked it back up again in probably 2010, maybe
Hmm.
2000. Uh, yeah, I think it was 2010 because it took me about 7 years to write it. And of course, the story changed a whole lot from when I first started it. But I did have the idea of one, because I'm a Oregon Trail descendant, so I had the idea of this one of the characters traveling on the Oregon Trail from the East Coast to Oregon to be a teacher. And that I started that storyline in 1859 is when that, right before the Civil War, a few years before the Civil War. And Oregon and California were the only states on the West Coast. And then there was this big territory, and then there was like Kansas and Missouri, and I don't know what what the eastern edge of the territory was. And so, uh, but then I wanted to have a story about somebody in the present. And Morgan in the past is Jenna in the present's three times great grandmother.
Okay.
And the book starts when Jenna has this really terrible day where her fiance breaks their engagement and her mother is in this terrible accident and dies. And her father has already been dead for several years before that.
Wow, amazing. Oh boy.
So she works in a publishing house in Portland, Oregon, which is where Barry and I lived for 15 years after we got married. And she has to go down to Roseburg, which is in the southern part of Arizona. I mean, excuse me, Oregon, uh, to where her mother lives to take care of her, estate and all that. She gets there before her mother dies, but her mother's brain dead from the accident.
Mm-hmm.
But she has a big support system there. And then when she goes back about a week later, she loses her job due to
Oh boy.
some some nefarious characters who frame her for embezzlement. And so she goes home to, she's always wanted to be a writer. And so she goes home, and her mentor from high school owns the newspaper there, and he encourages her to start writing, and he publishes her articles periodically. And
Okay.
so yeah, but it's when she's cleaning out her mother's house that she finds these old journals,
Wow.
and they
Okay.
happen to be her great grandmother and great grandfather's journals.
Oh
And when
wow,
she
amazing.
and so when she opens the journal, the first journal, and starts reading it, her consciousness enters Morgan's consciousness, and it happens to be the day of Morgan's father's funeral.
Hmm.
So they have this connection right away because they've both lost both parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and Morgan lives in Vermont. Her father was a minister, and they were involved in the abolitionist movement, the Underground Railroad.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't do a lot of work with them, but she did do that. And she has her degree, her teaching degree. And one of his students lives in Oregon and has invited them to come to Oregon. But her father gets ill and she can't go until after he dies. But her aunt, who is a rich socialite in Boston, wants to take over her life and move her to Boston and have her marry a rich guy. And she's like, no, 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 I'm not having any of that. So her friends help her escape and go to Oregon to get this teaching job that's been offered to her. So
Oh
that's
wow.
just
Okay.
that's just the beginnings of it. And Jenna learns that she has to learn to love herself. That's part of her journey. And Morgan helps her do that, but she also helps Morgan through some of the problems that she has with the school board and that kind of thing where she's teaching. So yeah,
Okay.
that's
And plus, you go through a lot of time travel as well, too. And of course, we're talking about the upcoming Times Echo with Lucinda Sage-Midgorden in just 1 minute. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mostly Missing, The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite paintings and King David Psalms, Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Back to multi-talent author Lucinda Sage-Midgorden after this time out. We're back with author Lucinda Sage-Midgorden here on the Mike Wagner Show. And before we talk about Times Echo, you seem to be traveling a lot, like with Oregon, Arizona, everything like that. You've been in 10 different countries, and tell us about the countries you've been in. Which one's your favorites?
Ooh. Well, we started in Germany. We started and visited, like I have a cousin who lives in Vermont, so that's why I chose Vermont for my book. Uh, and we started on the East Coast, but then we flew to Germany, the Netherlands, England, France, and then we had a little layover a couple of times in Zurich.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Okay.
although although we didn't get to see Zurich, we were in the train station or in the airport. And then we went to Greece. From
Nice.
Greece, we went to India. We didn't know anybody in India. Most of the places we had contacts or somebody that we knew. And then from India, we flew to Australia. We have a college friend who is from Australia, and he lives in Adelaide, South Australia. And then we went to Japan. At that time, one of my sisters lived in Japan with her husband and family.
Oh, wow.
And then we
Okay.
flew home. So we went east all the way around. And the day we left Japan was the day before our anniversary. And we got home to Portland before we left Japan.
How do you
On the fifth.
like that? And all in time as well, too. And feels like a time's echo as well, too. And tell us more about your upcoming book.
So Time's Echo is a sequel to The Space Between Time. Morgan gets involved in, she's a writer now after gets married to this British guy who's a poet and moves to the United States. That's a long story. I'm not going to go
Mm-hmm.
into, but they go back to England, and because she's been writing all these books about the West, and they're really popular, and she's been invited to come talk in England. And when they find out she's a woman, it's like, oh no, sorry, you can't
Uh-oh.
give your speech here. And so she meets some people who are involved in the suffrage movement there, and she becomes a suffragist when she comes back to the United States. So that's her story. Jenna began. Now, I started this book in 2014 when I finished the first draft of The Space
Mm-hmm.
Between Time, but there was nothing for Jenna to do in 2014.
Uh-oh.
So I wrote lots of Morgan stuff and had to wait until the Harvey Weinstein thing happened. And then I had something for Jenna to do. And so I've kind of been writing it as things have unfolded, and Jenna's involved in the women's movement of today. So that's the really fast what's
Oh my
in the
gosh.
book.
Yeah, and that's really amazing as well. Where can we find all your works at, including your YouTube channel and podcast? Where can we find all your works at?
The books are available on Amazon, Apple, and Barnes and Noble. If you want a print copy, a print on demand copy, you have to go to Amazon. The others are ebooks. Oh, you can also buy the ebook at Smashwords. Um, the uh, the Times Echo will also probably be at all of those locations. Scotosaurus is also available at all those places.
And how about your
So,
YouTube channel and your podcast? Where can we find those?
oh, well, the YouTube channel is their story hyphen power and classic cinema with the Sage sisters. That's the name of those. We also have a Facebook page, Classic Cinema with the Sage Sisters on Facebook. Mostly I'm active on Facebook and LinkedIn with my name, Lucinda Sage-Midgorden, if you want to find me there. Or you can just go join the group Classic Cinema with the Sage Sisters if you want to.
All right.
Um,
Go ahead.
and
You can keep
the
going.
pod
Yes.
the
You can keep going. Go
podcast,
ahead. Mm-hmm.
okay, the podcast is on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube. I think that's all. Seems like, oh, and my website,
Okay. And the website is?
Sage Woman Chronicles, and it's on WordPress.
All right. We'll certainly check that out here at the multi-talented Lucinda Sage-Midgorden here on the Mike Wagner Show. Just a few more things. What else can we expect in 2025 and beyond?
Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully my book will not be out probably until 2026, Times Echo. I do have a couple of friends who will read it, and I'm to the stage where I'm revising, so hopefully it'll be done sometime next year. And I'm just going to keep doing the two YouTube channels, the blog or excuse me, the podcast and the YouTube channel with my sister. And yeah, I mean, I am also an expert at Prolific Writer's Life, where I help people market their books as a podcast guest. And also we have an event every month, Films for Writers, where we watch a movie about a film with a writer in it and we talk about it. And that's free. Anybody can join. You don't have to be a member of Prolific Writers Life.
Okay, we'll certainly check that as well too. And who do you consider biggest influence in the career?
Oh, probably my father. I did have some really great college instructors, Celia Shaw and Howard Booth, but unfortunately, they're both gone now. So, but those were great influences in my life as well. So,
Okay, that's certainly amazing as well. What's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
if you want to do something and you love it, do it. Don't let anything stop you. Just start. It doesn't have to start fast. It can be slow, but just concentrate on the things that you love doing and do them, because that brings you joy.
I think that's great advice as well during these times. We're the multi-talented Lucinda Sage-Midgorden of Sage Woman Chronicles, space between time, Scottish Source, and more on the Mike Wagner Show, along with your YouTube channel and podcast. We want everybody to check it out. Lucinda, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Laugh at you back. And what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people check out your works and more?
They can contact me through my website if they want to, or on Facebook or LinkedIn. And it's just Lucinda Sage-Midgorden. On both of those, Facebook and LinkedIn, they can find me there.
We'll certainly check that out. Once again, Lucinda, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Laugh at you back. We wish you all the best. And Lucinda, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you very much, Mike.